So hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. First, I would like to sincerely apologize for the 5-minute delay in starting this event. We do not take your time for granted, and we're happy you are able to be with us today. A few things, this is being recorded. I will be presenting, I will be asking questions, and you guys will have opportunity to ask me questions. Please, to respect everybody on the call, once you're on the call, ensure that you are on mute, except if you have a question and you've been asked to speak. Please ensure you're on mute. Please ensure you are on mute. Thank you very much. So today we are going to be going through how to navigate the MBA admissions process. I'm going to be the only one presenting, but we're going to have our other Titan R consultants on the call that will be answering questions that you might have. So we're going to be going today through the story behind Titan R Consulting, success highlights, and we'll have like a did you know kind of session for you to have an idea of the things that we do if you're not aware. And then we're going to go through all about the MBA admissions process, which is why you all are here today. And then we'll be going through challenges and opportunities of the program, because we know that nothing is without its own challenges and without its own problems. We'll be going through that, and then we'll be going through a Q&A session. Let me know if anybody has any questions as of now. Okay, perfect, awesome. So basically, I like to introduce myself to you because it's always important for us to get the story behind Titan R Consulting, because there is really no Titan R Consulting if we don't have the why behind Titan R Consulting. It's very important that we have the why behind Titan R Consulting. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Tomlola Abiodun, but I also go by the name Anu. I'm the senior consultant and I'm the founder of Titan R Consulting. I'm very, very excited to be speaking with you today because my passion is about helping people achieve their goals, whether it be career or academic. I understand how much gap in information can actually derail one's career or one's academic ambition. And I'm here to help you actually fill that gap of information that you might need as you actually advance your career or actually advance your graduate school ambitions. So a lot of times people always ask me questions about, well, why Titan R Consulting? How did Titan R Consulting come about? And just different things. Well, I'm not going to be telling you my entire life history, but basically I'm going to be telling you that Titan R Consulting was born out of the challenges that I faced from when I was trying to get into grad school, even before getting into grad school, even while I was still at Nigeria trying to look for job opportunities. I faced a lot of failures, I faced a lot of challenges, but something that really set me apart was the fact that I'm actually really very resilient and I do not allow challenges define who I am. I actually take challenges as a stepping stone to success. But I understand not a lot of people have that opportunity. Sometimes people just have that one shot, and once they miss that one shot, it's always really bad for them because they don't get those other opportunities. Titan R Consulting is here to actually help you not miss that one shot, because we understand not a lot of people have several opportunities. People just have that one opportunity. And there is this thing that they always say, well, I know that we have more people that are not Nigerians on the call, but I think it's Nigerian Christians that say this a lot about what is yours will pass you by, right? And I think it's also like a Yoruba adage or something. Well, I don't agree with that at all. There are a lot of people that things that are actually theirs have passed them by. And what is yours would pass you by if you're not prepared and you're not ready, right? So I don't come with the mindset of, oh, if it's for me, I would get it. No, right? There are a lot of things for you out there. If you're not ready and if you're not prepared, if you don't have the right information, what is yours will pass you by. And then you would end up feeling like, oh, I didn't get that because it wasn't mine. No, you didn't get it because you weren't prepared. Now, there are times when people don't get things right because it just didn't work out. And you would know within yourself that, oh, I put in my best. But there are times when you don't get things and you know you didn't put in your best. I'm here to help you ensure that you put in your best so that irrespective of the outcome, you know that I've done my very best. As against, well, I could have done it better if I had the right information, if I had the right support. So we will be going to our next slide. Sorry. So a lot of times people always ask, like, why do we exist? And I have explained a little bit about why we exist. One, the primary purpose of Titanium Consulting is to ensure that young professionals and students have the resources and tools that they need to succeed. That is literally our cardinal focus, right? And like I said before, information is power. And we want to ensure that we close the information gap as much as possible. And we need to get as many people as possible access to resources that can help them excel. And I'm not coming to say that, oh, I have all of these amazing experiences, or I haven't faced any challenges, because sometimes people speak with me and they're like, oh, Tommy, you have everything figured out. Well, I don't have everything figured out. I fail a lot. I fail a whole lot. And I've faced challenges academic-wise and in the career space. And that's why I decided to found Titanal Consulting. And that's why I divided our Titanal services into two broad categories, right? The graduate admissions coaching and the career coaching. Well, for today, because we are speaking about navigating the MBA admissions process, I will just be going deep into our graduate school admissions coaching. But if you would like to learn about our career coaching services, please feel free to sign up for one of our initial one-on-one sessions, free one-on-one sessions. Send us an email or watch our career coaching video on YouTube. Now, I'll just take you through a few minutes where I talk about our graduate school admissions coaching, right? While we have most of our clients that are prospective MBAs, we have also supported clients to get into traditional master's programs and even PhD programs because we have consultants that have skills in those areas. So don't think we're only about MBAs. If you're thinking about doing like a PhD in chemical engineering, a master's program in business analytics, data analytics, finance, we have consultants with those skills that would help you in those areas. Now, sometimes when people think about graduate career coaching, they assume that your coach will do everything for you, but that's not Titanal. So think about Titanal Consulting like a school. You have a teacher, you have a syllabus. Your teacher goes through your entire syllabus, gives you assignments, projects, exams to ensure you are prepared. Now, the difference between Titanal Consulting and a school is, even when your teacher has given you all of these things and you go to the exam, if you get 50, that's your score. If you get 70, that's your score. But for Titanal Consulting, the goal is to get our clients at almost 100% prepared. So we'll continue to coach you. We'll continue to have a lot of the rework till it's at 100%. Now, it's important to know that you as the client, you need to be able to put in 100% for us to be able to put in 100%. Because we're not doing the entire work for you. We're coaching you on how to do it. We're reviewing your work. We are acting as teachers. We are there to hold your hand. But if you're not ready, it's not going to be, I would say, it's a mutually dependent relationship. Now, let me explain further. Our services at the graduate school stage include like the school selection session, the initial networking coaching, resume coaching, recommendation letter coaching, essay coaching, admission interview coaching, visa and loan application review, if that's applicable for you. So for example, doing like a resume coaching session, you get like an initial 30 minutes to an hour, you learn about the standard framework, then you get to work on your resume, send it back to us to review until we're comfortable and finalize it. The same goes for the essays, the recommendation letters, where we'll brainstorm with you or you brainstorm with like a consultant on the best story to tell, how to tell it, how to integrate your personal and professional experiences, how to ensure that you achieve success, right? And I know that a lot of people think this is so tough, this is so difficult, and people always assume that somebody will be able to do it for you. However, the truth is, the application process is just the tip of the iceberg. And how successful you would be getting into the program and even after the program is how serious you are at the admission stage, right? So I know for a lot of people, they know that we do one-on-one coaching, but our admission coaching is evolving. And in addition to our one-on-one coaching, we will be launching our admissions course, because we understand that not everybody is able to commit the time and the resources for a one-on-one coaching with a consultant. And some people just want to do it themselves. They want to be able to take it step by step on their own way. So we'll be introducing the admissions courses. Now, the difference really is the admission course covers everything that you will learn, but you don't get brainstorming sessions, you don't get review sessions. It's just like attending an online school where you don't get to meet with your professor, right? So it depends on what you want. It depends on the kind of support that you need. And that's when you're going to be able to decide, do I want to go for the one-on-one coaching or do I want to go for the admissions course? Please let me know if you have any questions. Please type your questions in the chat box, and we can get people to respond to you as soon as possible. And if some of you are thinking, how do I schedule a one-on-one, the initial one-on-one with Titanar Consulting, I will be asking Titanar Superstar Olamigoke to put in the link for our Calendly one-on-one in the chat box, so that we can anybody who wants to register or sign up for a one-on-one should do that as soon as possible, because our one-on-one sign-ups are actually very limited. Now, I know that we are talking about the admission services, but we have a few testimonials for our career clients. A few companies that our clients have been able to get into are Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Bank of America, EY, Amgen, American Express, PwC, Apple, a whole lot of them. Now, because our focus is navigating the MBA admissions process, I will take you through some of the schools that our clients have been able to get into. As of now, we've had clients get into 42 schools in the US, Canada, and in the UK. So that's really exciting. And the highlight of some of our schools, we have Penn State, Ohio State, Washington University, St. Louis, Chicago Bulls, Talk, Dartmouth, Duke, University of Virginia, and the others that are not here, Georgia Tech, Kellogg, University of South Carolina, University of Southern California. We have University of Notre Dame, we have Arizona State University. We have a whole lot of schools that our clients have been able to get into. And they have been able to get into these schools with significant funding and scholarships. Now, these things were not handed over to them. They actually worked for it. They put in a lot of energy. They put in a lot of effort in getting this, right? So I would like us to actually know that getting into the MBA program or getting into the grad school program is not a walk in the park. It's something that you have to be dedicated. You have to put in a lot of effort to getting that done. So I'll go ahead and take you through our Did You Know session. Now, before we, wait, I'm coming. Yeah, so, okay. So before we go into the different steps, because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, wow, she's told us a whole lot about Titanar Consulting. What exactly are we going to get? Like, how exactly do we navigate this process? Well, I'll be taking you through that in a bit. But before that, I would like to let you know that, well, we offer one-on-one MBA and graduate school admissions coaching that takes you through all of the steps of the process, where you work with a consultant on everything. The person would be like your personal tutor. Then we are launching our first online do-it-yourself admissions course. You have access to the course for 6 months. So this is not like a boot camp where you have access for 8 weeks or 6 weeks. No, you literally have access for the entire 6 months. The reason why it's a 6 months is because 6 months is literally the time you need from when you start your application process to when you will get like a decision, you start evaluating your application, your admission decisions. You start thinking about, oh, am I going to ask for more scholarships? Am I going to apply for a loan? What's the visa process like? It's about 6 months. So you need to have access to the course if you are interested for an entire 6 months. Good news, 70% of our clients the last school cycle got full rights to top MBA programs. We even had clients that had 4 full rights, 100% scholarships to top business schools. Well, I already told you guys before, we have graduate and young professional career services. And something that we do not stop at is once you get into business school, we don't just stop at the admission side. We ensure that we help you on navigating how to get a job. That's totally different from the admissions package though. And for this class of 2024, that's the people that got in the fall 2022 class, 50% of them were able to land MBA internships before starting school in August. In fact, a few of them already landed offers. Now, these things were not also handed over to them. They put in the work, they put in all of the energy and all of the effort. The total number of scholarships that we've been able to get and stipends are about $5 million, and we are just 3 years in the business. So we have a lot of success stories, but as I would say, nothing was handed over. These people put in all of the work, all of the energy, and all of the resources. And for you to be successful, you need to put in a whole lot of work in. Please let me know if you have any questions, right? Type your questions in the chat box, and I will be taking time to answer those questions. Please, like I said at the beginning, ensure that you are on mute. Please ensure that you are on mute so that we respect other participants on the call. Thank you. Now, the MBA. A lot of times, people always say, the MBA, people say masters of, but the MBA is basically Master of Business Administration. Master of Business Administration. That's the MBA. Now, for why the MBA? A lot of people are thinking, well, the MBA program is one of the most, I would say, the populous graduate school degree in the world. Like, it's very, very popular in the entire world. And as against our traditional master's programs, this is focused more on professional business development. It's focused on developing a lot of your leadership skills. It's focused on ensuring that you are successful as a leader, as against diving deep into a facet of business like accounting or finance. No, you have you have different facets of business that are focused on the MBA program. Now, when we talk about the MBA program, people always wonder, they always say that, well, I don't think I'm a good fit for the MBA program. I've never done anything in the business world. I'm not an accountant. Well, the good news is diversity of opinions and ideas is one that is strongly valued in the program. In fact, if you get into traditional MBA programs, well, maybe just a small percentage of people, well, not a small percentage of people, well, a lot of people are business people, but we have doctors, we have nurses, we have people that are musicians. I had a musician in my class at Ohio State. We have people that are teachers, high school teachers. We have engineers, we have scientists, we have lawyers, right? So it doesn't really matter what your background is. In fact, the fact that you are coming from a non-traditional business background is what makes the schools much more interested in you. They want to know, as a pharmacist, as a nurse, why are you interested in the MBA? What kind of value will you be bringing in? Because the truth is, because some of us already came from business backgrounds, we think in a particular way. Let me give you an example about myself. I started my career at PwC in Nigeria. I'm a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. And the truth is, most of my friends were actually, apart from my friends at Covenant, my friends in PwC were also accountants. It's either they had ICANN or they had ACCA. I noticed that we all thought the same way. Of course, we think the same way. We are doing the same type of job, right? We are doing the same type of job, and we are also we have the same qualifications. But coming into the MBA program, I saw how people thought differently, because what you think actually also comes from the kind of background that you have, what you have been doing, basically, right? So if you have been like a nurse or a pharmacist, the way you approach a business issue is totally different from the way I would approach it. And that's the entire goal of the MBA program, to fuse diverse knowledge and diverse experiences together. So if you think that you are not going to be a good fit for the program because you don't have like a traditional background, actually you'll be a perfect fit for the program. Now, I've said the MBA is professional, but it is as professional as it is academic, right? So schools always look for candidates that exhibit the capabilities to take up leadership skills, are very collaborative, and are very, very analytical, right? So schools are not only looking for people that have only one particular focus. Schools are looking for people that have diverse focuses, right? Now, I'll just take you through the range of the class profile in the top MBA programs, right? We have the average GMAT and GRE. So depending on the school, the average GMAT is 680, the average GRE is about 317, and it can go high or low depending on your school. The average age at enrollment is about 27 years old. However, we have people that were younger than that, and people that are older than that, right? Then we have average work experience, about 5 years. We also have people that are above that significantly and people that are below that. Then we have your average undergraduate GPA, which is 3.4 over 4, not over 5. Now, we also have people that are over that and under that. Now, something that I need you to note is that this is the range of the class profile. It doesn't mean that all of your, I would say, doesn't mean that all parts of your profile must fit into this, right? What it means is that if you have like a low undergraduate GPA, how do you make up for it in your standardized test score, right? If you are maybe significantly above the age range, maybe you are close to 40 or like more than 35, which is like significantly above the age range, how exactly do you communicate your interest and the value that you're going to be bringing into the program? How do you explain to the admissions committee that, well, I'm 35 years old, but I think the full-time MBA program is better for me as against the professional or the executive MBA program? So it's basically how exactly are you able to tell your story to ensure that for every gap or every deficiency that you have in your profile, you're able to talk about it. Right. Then I'll be taking us through the different parts of the profile, because basically that's what we're here for, how to navigate the process. Now, well, schools consider a whole lot of stuff, right? Which is what I've kind of explained: your standardized test score, your undergraduate GPA, your years of experience, your type of experience, your resume, your portfolio. When I mean portfolio, I'm not talking about art portfolio, right? It depends on who you are. If you're like an artist, before, you're a musician before, or you're like a software developer before, do you have a portfolio of your work? For someone like me, I don't need a portfolio. I didn't have a portfolio because I've always been in accounting, right? So for the MBA program, it's not something that is compulsory, but if you have something to showcase, that would be really great if you have. Then they also consider what your volunteer experiences are and the passion that you have, what your career prospect is. Then they also consider a lot about your essays. This is where you're not going to be generic in your essays. A lot of people think that, well, they can just keep coming up with like generic essays. Then also your recommendation letter is very important. What are the people that have worked with you? What are they saying about you? Now, communication and interaction within the school, which is networking, is also very important. And then a huge part, which a lot of us struggle with, is our admissions interviews. Your interview actually can make or break the application, the admission process. I've seen people that did not have fantastic scores, but they aced the admissions interviews. And I've seen people that had the best scores and they said nonsense in the admissions interview. Basically, I would say it's nonsense. Right? If you're not able to tell your story well, if you're not able to use the staff framework, if you're not able to let them know why you are interested in the program, if you're not able to tell them about times you have led a team, times you have failed, times you have built something from scratch, times that you have impacted people, if you're not able to tell that story in that manner, why exactly would the school admit you to a top MBA program? So those are things that the school actually considers, right? So I've spoken about how the MBA is one of the popular degrees. It's different from the traditional masters. You get people from diverse backgrounds, right? Now, I'll be taking you through, I've stated all of these things, but I will not be taking you through all of these things that I've stated, your career prospect, the essays, communication and interaction with the school. How exactly should all those things first? So how exactly do you navigate this? How do you make sure that you stand out compared to others? Because the challenge here is, well, if you're not standing out compared to others, then they're not going to be taking you, they're not going to be admitting you because you need to stand out. You need to be different, right? And if you're not different from others, then how exactly would they admit you, right? So it's very, very important that you show how you're different. So I'm going to take you through how you can show how you'll be different from a standardized test scores perspective. Now, before I even do that, one thing that you need to do is when you're trying to navigate the MBA process, you need to understand, okay, these are the things that the schools consider. Have these things that they consider, and then you now tick. Now they're considering all of these things. How do I match up to the class profile of the school and these things that they are considering? How exactly do I match up? Right? That's basically how to navigate it. You need to understand what the schools are looking out for, and then you need to do like an evaluation to say the schools are looking out for these things. How do I match up? Where am I presently? Right? Because there are some things that you can change, there's some things you can change. For example, your undergraduate GPA, there's nothing you can do about it. And I know some of us will have a lot of regrets, but there's nothing you can do about it, right? And then we have your type of work experience and your years of work experience. There's nothing you can do about that also, except if you're going to get like a new job or you're going to do something between now and when you start the program, but there's nothing you can do about it. But there are things that you can really, really influence and update, like your standardized test score. You can do a lot about it because you have the opportunity to fix it now. Your admissions interview, you can do a lot about it. Your recommendation letter, you can do a lot about it. Your volunteer experiences, if you've not been doing a lot of experiences and helping others and volunteering, there are things you can do about it. Your essays, there are things you can do about it. When I mean things you can do about it, I'm not saying forge anything. I'm saying you can come up with something really, really solid that can make up for the fact that, yes, you did not maybe have a great undergraduate GPA, but all of these other parts of your application are fantastic. Right. So I would go through everything step by step. For the standardized test scores, while truly the test scores do not determine your path to the MBA program, it is very, very significant. And what I always say is to be successful, I always encourage people to study intensely for about 2 months. And then they take 1 month only for taking mock tests. That's about 3 months. In fact, you can even do more than that, because the standardized test is not something you want to rush and gloss over. And that's what I've seen a lot of people do. They rush and they gloss over it. Rushing and glossing over it is not going to help you. And then I know that people have like some strategies to be able to cut corners. If you're going to cut corners with your test scores, it's always going to meet you. How do I call it? It's going to catch up with you. It's always going to catch up with you. So if you're going to cut corners, and I don't know what people do, they cut corners, they come up with some ambiguous scores. If you do that, once you get into the program, or if you happen to get into the program, because it's not only the standardized test scores that matter, you are going to be found out, right? They're going to find you out. They're going to know that this person actually didn't do the test themselves. So you need to focus that this has to be done by yourself. You have to do it by yourself. You have to prepare on your own, because at the end of the day, it kind of determines how successful you would be. So you coming up with some ambiguous scores that are not written by you and making sure you get it, maybe ensuring you get in the program with that, it's not going to help you at all. In fact, it's going to be a disaster when you get into the program, because they will find out, especially if you're coming to the United States. It's not a forgiving country, trust me. And if you actually get into the program with fake scores or things that are not right, they're going to find out. And there's nothing like, there's no coming back from it. Like, there's no coming back. That's just the end. So you need to make sure that if you're doing something, do it well and do it on your own. Which I just wanted to reiterate it, because I've heard a lot of stories and I really wanted to reiterate it because it's important that you get this done on your own. Undergraduate GPA, well, if you are still in undergrad, well, you need to make sure that you do very well. So your 3rd year and your 4th year GPAs are very, very important. You need to make sure you target A's in most of your quantitative courses. But if you already graduated from school and you have a low result, that's fine. There's nothing you can do about that right now. Please, can you just be on mute, please? Thank you. If you're already done with undergrad, like there's nothing you can do about it, you're done with it, right? But what you can now do to ensure that, well, I didn't do this well in undergrad, how do I position myself for success? This is where you're going to be talking more about like your professional qualifications, the short courses that you have done. You need to be able to prove to the admissions committee that, well, I didn't do well in undergrad, but I have the capacity and the capability to actually excel in an academic environment. So you need to show proof that you've excelled in other academic environments. Now, your years of work experience, well, the average work experience is about 5 in the MBA program. You'll see people that actually have from 2 to 15, right? But as an international student, I would always advise you to have at least 3 if you are an international student. This is important because your years of experience by enrollment is very important based off of the job you're going to get after school. So if as an international student, if peradventure you're able to come into an MBA program and you have 1 year, in fact, the big schools wouldn't give you admission with 1 year as an international student, but peradventure you get into school with 1 year, you're going to struggle a lot to get a job with the MBA program with 1 year of experience, right? Now, for traditional masters, it's totally different. You don't need to have any experience. But if you're an MBA, I would advise as an international student, have at least 3. Now, when I mean at least 3, if 3 is the sweet spot. So for every year you have after that 3, that's just totally up to you. But 3 is the perfect spot. And for some of us here, if you're Nigerian, there is NYSC. NYSC counts as your work experience. That's why if you're presently doing NYSC, it's important, very, very important that you take it really seriously and you find opportunities to actually make an impact. Yes, some of us or some people in their NYSC, they didn't really do, maybe like what they were posted to, they didn't really work out well, but you have a whole year. You need to find something doing so that you can speak to that as full-time experience when you're trying to apply to the MBA program. Now, for your work experience, the type of work experience is also very important. You need to make sure that you get more leadership exposure at work, analytical exposure at work. You need to be able to have various stories on leadership, creativity, collaboration, failure. You need to have those different stories, right? Because they're going to be asking you during your admissions interview. And the MBA program wants people that have great leadership experience and they have great leadership capabilities. So you should be somebody that has led. And when they say lead, don't think that you have to be the team lead, right? Leadership is not in the title of your work. It's actually in what you have done. How have you taken initiative? How have you solved problems for the team, right? How have you thought about things differently? That is leadership. And those are the things that you should be able to highlight. Then your resume should be 1 page, right? I've seen resumes of 5 pages, 4 pages. There is no reason for that. Your resume should be 1 page. And your resume should not reflect your job description. Your resume should reflect your achievements, right? When I mean achievements, I mean, instead of you saying responsible for this, you need to talk about what you actually did, how you did it differently, and what exactly were the achievements from that. So putting job description doesn't say anything. Like you just said, okay, this is what you're responsible for, but that doesn't mean you did it. Do you understand? Now, I spoke about portfolio, right? You don't have to have it, but there's some people that have had patents, they've had technical work attributed to them. You can put it together and call it out, right? It's very, very important. And then there's some things that we've all done and we don't even take it very seriously. But this is where Titanic Consulting can help you with that, right? Because there are things that we've done in our everyday life that are very significant that we don't even regard. And those are the things that will form a portfolio for you. Then volunteer experiences. The MBA program wants students who are smart, but not just academically smart. They want people that have other things. So you could be a singer, you could be a photographer, an artist. I mean, apart from your full-time job, right? You could be an accountant and an artist. You could be an accountant and a photographer. This is fantastic. This is what you're supposed to talk about because it doesn't really matter that, oh, this is maybe your part-time gig. No, that is what makes you rounded. So it's important that you highlight that. Then also, if you support other people, maybe you support in your religious gatherings, anything that you actually do, you need to talk about, you need to put it out there. Then your career prospects. Sometimes when I ask people, they come and they're like, oh, they want to have an MBA. And I say, why do you want to have an MBA? People don't even know. And I'm like, are you sure you really want to have an MBA or you just want to escape? right? And coming for an MBA program is not just about you leaving the country. It's about you being very articulate about what you want to do. Because if you don't know what you want to do, then how exactly can people help you succeed? So you need to think about, what do I want to do post MBA? How do I articulate? Like, how do I articulate what I'm thinking about doing? Well, Tatara Consulting can help you structure this. If you're thinking about, oh, I have different ideas in my head, how can I put it together? But Tatara Consulting cannot help you think about your career prospect. You need to have the ideas, and then we can help you structure it, right? So you need to think about, what am I going to do? What's my future? If you don't have that, then why exactly are you here? You need to think about it. Then your essays, you need to be able to tell your stories in the right manner. Very important. Plagiarism is really very frowned at. Do not copy your friends' essays. Your essays have to be structured and intelligent, that an outcome rep will be wowed. But also it has to be simple and clear that a 5-year-old will understand. So this is not where you put ambiguous words in your essays. Like, these people are like, what are you writing? And when you're writing your essays, now all of us have different experiences. Some of us are engineers, some of us are accountants. You need to understand that writing that essay, the person reading your essay is an admissions committee member, not your boss, not your colleague at work. So you need to be able to break down and explain those things so that the person can understand. Also, wherever you're from Nigeria, you're from Ghana, you're from Tanzania, wherever you're from, your admissions committee member reading your essay is not from there, most likely not. So you need to make sure that whatever you are describing, the person can understand. Not only people from your country should be able to understand it, right? So that's how you're able to tell your stories, and you should be able to talk about what your passion is, what you're interested in, and put it together. Well, Tadinam Consulting's brainstorming session would help you with that. Then recommendation letters, you need to identify 2 to 3 professionals depending on the school. Some schools actually have one who you've worked with. Now, this is where they will talk about you in the best manner. You can't be average here. You have to be exceptional. And these are not academic recommendations. They have to be professional recommendations because it's an MBA program. Then for your admissions interview, like I said, it would make or break you. There's some people that have had perfect GPAs, fantastic test scores, and then their interview doesn't go well. There's nothing for you. You can't wing it. You have to prepare adequately. I've heard stories, I've interviewed people, and I'm like, did you prepare for this? Do you even know what this is about? Preparation is very, very important. And this is not about being, well, I can speak English. Well, they're not testing how you can speak English here. They're testing your story. They're testing how you were able to put things in structure. They want to learn how you've been able to lead teams, how you've failed, how you've overcome challenges. They're not just hearing your English. So if you're not able to craft your stories ahead of time and practice those stories and do several mocks, then you won't be successful. So these are things that you need to actually put in mind. Then you need to actually network. Communication and interaction with the schools are very important. So attending webinars, attending coffee chats, very, 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 very important. So I'm going to take a pause now, and I'm going to get back to the chat to see if we have any questions. So Olusada, I would like to know what my chances of getting into a program without doing standardized tests. So I can see Olamigoke, yes, said that the MBA applicants we advise. Yes, so your prospects of admissions are not only determined by your score, that's actually true, but you need to check this school that you want to get at them, that you want to apply to. What are their criteria for a standardized test waiver? Do you meet the criteria for the standardized test waiver? If you don't meet the criteria for the standardized test waiver, then maybe you would, like, what are your chances of getting it? You might not even get approved for the waiver. So the thing is, schools are different. There are some schools that clearly state that you getting a test waiver doesn't affect your scholarships, doesn't affect your, it doesn't affect anything. But there are some schools that state that you applying for a test waiver affects your scholarships or even getting into the program. So you need to know, and then you need to do research. If you are an international student, you need to find out who are the international students that have gotten into this school with test waivers in the past, in the last 2 years. If no international student has gotten in with a test waiver in the last 2 years, then your chances of getting in is really slim. So a lot of these schools, they do test waivers. Doesn't necessarily mean they're doing it for international students. I mean, they put it out there, but as an international student, it's much more complicated than that, because what exactly are they supposed to benchmark you against? And there's some people, I've met people that their undergraduate GPA is so low, and they're like, they still want to do a test waiver, and they don't have good experience. I don't know what you want, but how exactly is that supposed to work? Something has to give. You have to be able to put in the effort. And I know, like, oh, people are like, oh, this is so difficult, this is so tough. But what can be as difficult and as tough as trying to achieve your goals? So if you don't have the right mindset that you have to put in the work, you're not going to achieve success. And like I said, the application process is just the tip of the iceberg. You're still going to get into school. You're still going to try to get internships. You're going to get full-time positions. You're going to be having case competitions. You're going to be dealing with class grades. And if you cannot put in this effort now, then you won't be able to put that effort in at the end of the day. So I'm not saying you must take a test score. Like most people that come to me are like, oh, go take your test score. Go take your test rather. I'm not saying it's compulsory. There are some people that, to be honest, their profiles are like 10 over 10. Even if they didn't take a test score, depending on the schools, they would get very good admissions. There are people that I've coached that have gotten full rides without taking test scores. But you don't know what their profile is. You don't know the amount of effort they put in. So you need to be honest with yourself and say, what do I have? Like, what's my profile like? What schools am I interested in? Right? What are their criteria for standardized tests? Am I interested in scholarships? Right? This school, are they scholarship biased with test waivers? Those are the things that you need to consider. And if you want us to help you brainstorm on that decision, that's a service that we offer at Titanium Consulting. Just send us an email and then we'll be happy to work with you on that. Do we have any other questions? Because I see only Ulusada Munisade has asked her question. Okay, so no other questions. So we'll go through the challenges and the opportunities. Now, there are a lot of challenges, to be honest, and I'm not going to say, oh, everything is like 10 over 10, and then you're not going to face any challenges. There are challenges, right? And I'll just be taking you through like the kind of challenges that people face when they get into the program, right? Sometimes people are thinking through, do I need to have any specific major or concentrations in the MBA program? A lot of us want to do like, oh, I want to have an operations concentration. I want to have an analytics concentration. I think that's very fantastic, right? If you're thinking about a particular concentration, you should actually do research on the schools that you're interested in applying to. And then you think through, okay, what concentrations do these schools have? Something you need to know is, even if you have an MBA concentration in healthcare, or a concentration in analytics, on your MBA diploma or your certificate, it's just going to be MBA. It's not MBA in finance or MBA in healthcare, MBA in anything. It's just going to be MBA. This is different from a dual degree program where you have both the MBA and the master's in something. That's totally different, right? Then that's up to you. So it's up to you to do that research. Then sometimes people always say, it's so shocking when you're moving to a different country. The mode of instruction is one of the main challenges that MBAs face. So in these other countries, in the UK, Canada, and the US, it's more of, especially in the MBA program, it's a lot of presentation. It's a lot of talking and communication. For most of us from Africa, our mode of learning has been your professors talking at you, not class participation. So if you are going to be, you would struggle, I mean, with class participation. I struggle with it, but you need to know that coming into the MBA program, you're going to have to do a lot of class participation. So that's one challenge that people face, right? So people always talk about scholarships too. I've heard this question a lot of times. How can I apply for scholarships? Now, when it comes to getting into the MBA program, most of the programs assess you for scholarships together with your application. There is no separate scholarship application. There isn't, right? In the application, though, there are some schools that have, specific scholarship essays that you should write, but everything is part of the application. most of the programs, you don't have other scholarships to apply to. However, we have some external scholarships, right? So you have like Chevening for the UK and then some external scholarships. But when it comes to if you apply to Ohio State, for example, you don't have to apply for an Ohio State scholarship like outside the application portal. Whatever application you need to put in is in the portal, and then they assess you for the scholarship as of when they're assessing you for admission. Do you understand? So that's kind of how it is. Then sometimes people also ask questions on how do you transition? How is it to transition from school to work? Well, I wouldn't say it is easy, but like I have done it. Most of my clients have done it. There are resources that will have to help you. In fact, your school also has resources to help you, right? But it's intense work, right? So people have this idea of, oh, if I go to a top school, I'm just going to get a job. And that's not how it works. It doesn't matter the school you go to. If you go to the number one school and you don't put in the work, you will not get the job. You wouldn't. They're not handing over the jobs to you. You have to work. You need to understand your job set strategy. Those things, you need to do them, right? And I would say when people ask, does the MBA actually prepare them for their roles? Yeah, I think it does prepare. Mine prepared me for my role. And if anybody were to ask me if I were to go back in time, would I have the MBA? Yes, I would. If I were to go back in time, I would prepare a lot before even joining the program after my admission, which is what I did not do, right? Then the last challenge people always have is people always hinge their MBA path on rankings. Rankings are good, top 20, top 30, top 40. But to be honest, they play only a tiny role in your job search process. Tiny. It's like they play 20% while you play 80%. That's why when you land a job after or during your MBA program, you see people from schools you've never even heard of because they put in a lot of work. So the rankings are fantastic. But if you are thinking that I need to go to this school because they will give me a job there, I mean, you're already making a mistake. I have people telling me, oh, what's the placement rate? They're not placing you anywhere. No school is placing you anywhere. There's no placement rate. Those job opportunities that you see there, yes, the school support, like maybe there are some companies that come recruit to the school. You have career services in the school that coaches you, but it is your own work. Nobody's just going to place you. They don't have like, 10 roles in Apple and then they just place you there. No, you need to apply. Your resume has to be good. You need to do your interview, and you need to be part of the few people that Apple will take for you to land that role, right? So that's why irrespective of the school you go to, you have to do a lot of work. And when it comes to academic, the quality of the academic program, I can tell you for free. I'm pretty sure the top 100 programs, MBA programs in the US have the same academic quality. I'm pretty sure they do. When it comes to academic quality, like they literally do, there's a standard. Unlike some of our countries where we're coming from, where there is no standard, there are actually standards in the big programs, right? So if it's like for academic like quality, like you would get it. But yes, I understand that different schools give different things. So it's important for you to look at, okay, what value can this school give me as against, oh, I just want to go to number 2. I just want to go to number 3. Do you understand? Now, sometimes a lot of people have asked, what's our admission services? Well, I've gone through it over and over again. These are the things that we cover in our admission service. For our one-on-one service, you work with a consultant. For our admissions course, you don't get to work with a consultant. You have pre-recorded videos. You have access to the videos for 6 months. You have access to office hours once per month, where you can come and ask your questions, and the consultant will be there to ask you the questions. But we don't review any of your documents. We don't do brainstorming sessions for you. If you want a brainstorming session or you want a review of your document and you are not doing a one-on-one coaching, you actually have the webinar course that you have paid for, or the course that you've paid for rather, then you just reach out to us, and then you would have to pay for one-on-one service, which is going to be discounted for you because you actually are a returning Titanal client from the MBA course. Now we have other webinars coming in. So if you're thinking through, you want to hear from current MBA students, there's going to be a Q&A September 18th. If you're thinking about how exactly do I blend my personal and professional experience, we have October 2nd. If you're not interested in the MBA and you're interested in the Masters in Business Analytics program, we have that October 16th. If you're thinking about how exactly, like, how do I get into graduate school without breaking the bank, it's October 30th. Now, I know that for you to be here, you registered for our webinars. If you already registered and you signified interest in any of these webinars, you would be getting an invite in a couple of days for the next webinars. If not, please sign up for our webinar, bit.ly.webinar.admissions. Please, Olamigoke, put that in the chat. And then you can reach out to us on our various platforms. We have a WhatsApp chat, we have our email, we have our website, we have Instagram, and we have Twitter. Please make sure that you follow us on our different platforms. So I will be here to answer a couple of questions. I would also be including the link for our admissions course. So if you're interested in the admissions course, please sign up using the link. I'm going to put the link right now in the chat for you. Caroline, please, can you put the link in the chat? Let me put it anyways. Let me see. Now, did I tell you something very interesting about the course? If you sign up today, or if you fill, because this is an interest form, if you fill the interest form today, you get to have the course for $150. The original price of the cost is valued at $400. We would be making it available for the next 2 months for $200. But if you fill the interest form today, you don't have to pay for it today. It's just filling the interest form. You get it for $150 for the cost. You have access to the cost for 6 months, and the cost launch date is September 15th. So including your name in the interest form means that you want us to contact you about the MBA course, you want to learn more about it, and then we'll be sending you a lot of information about the course this week, and we'll be getting you prepared for the launch of the course on September 15th. If you buy it on September 15th or even before September 15th, you have access to it for 6 months. So you basically have access to it till February. You have access to it for 6 months, and that means anything and everything about your MBA application process is covered in the cost. And if you'll be needing one-on-one services in addition to the cost, that's an additional cost. If you want to learn more about our one-on-one coaching services, price list, our costs, please send us an email, and then we'll be happy to send over our services list to you. So now I can see Ronald said, I'm trying to access the link, not accessible, keeps redirecting me. That's interesting. The link is accessible, well, from what I can see. Then Olaolu, you mentioned applying for more than one scholarship. How do we apply for these scholarships, and how do we apply before? Wait, I didn't mention applying for more than one scholarship. I told you that for the MBA application, you don't need to have an external, you don't, like, if you're applying to Harvard, for example, you don't need to apply for any Harvard scholarships. Like, they assess you for scholarship with your application. Now, I mentioned that there are external scholarships. I know that there's Tiwa Danjuma, there are other scholarships. If you want to apply for those ones are totally different. But for scholarship that the school is going to give you, the school scholarship, the application is together with your admission application process. Everything is together. You don't need to do anything extra. Basically, you don't. So that's what I said. So what's the best time to apply and be considered? Well, the best time to actually apply to business schools in the first and second round. First round is now. Our first round deadlines are September, October for a lot of the schools. Second round can be between December, January, February, depending on the schools. But I always say applying on time is really very important. But not just applying on time, right? It's not just about you applying on time. It's applying and putting in the best application, right? So like Olamide has said, now basically is the best time to apply. But it's also important that you apply with the best profile. So if you don't have your good test scores right now, there's no point applying right now with a bad score. It's not going to give you any opportunity for funding. It's better for you to take your time and apply in the second round with a good profile. But when I mean take your time, I'm not saying apply in March or apply in April. That's taking too much time. right? So now is the best time to start working on all of the parts of your strategy. And I think the latest I always tell people to apply is the second round, which is our January deadlines for most of the schools. But we have a few people that are applying in the first round, October, November, and they get to have their admission decisions by December. Oh, okay, Ola. Okay, that was before I touched the point. Okay, all right. So praise, after getting the price list, you would have like an initial strategy session with a consultant. You would get your one-on-one emails and invites sent over to you, and you will get access to like a Google folder that has all of the resources that you'll be needing. And then every week or every 2 weeks, depending on the time you sign up, you'll be having a coaching call with an admissions coach from Titanara Consulting that will take you through from start to finish. But for the admissions course, you just sign up, have access to your video, watch it anytime. We'll be providing guidance as to how to make the best of the video, but it's just up to you to use it how you want. Do we have any other questions? We have it quiet.
No, sometimes they give that condition.
Hi, Anu. Thank you so much for the insightful session. I really learned a lot. I wanted to ask that also after getting the price list, will there be a payment gateway to kind of like start payment for the one-on-one coaching, and are there like timelines for kicking that off?
Yes, so for the payment, you're able to make payment using Stripe for USD. You're able to make payment using Paystack if you're paying in Naira. And you're able to make payment on Seller if you're paying in other currencies apart from USD GBP. So you can make payment in, I think, some like six African countries using Flutterwave. Then you can make payment in full, or you can make in up to 4 installments, depending on what you're interested in. Your 4 installments is every month, because basically the coaching, the one-on-one coaching is about for 4 months, to intense coaching is about for 4 months, or even up to 6. So making your payment every month kind of fits into the coaching cycle. I can see Matthew said you joined late. Yes, the truth is, with an HND, you can even get into a PhD program, right? So the HND doesn't limit you. Yes, there are things that you have to do differently, but it's also going to be up to what was your grade? Like, what did you score? What was your grade? Did you have an upper credit? Did you have a distinction? What have you done after? What's your work experience? Right? And for HNDs, then you can get maybe, because normally for MBA programs, they don't require your transcript to be evaluated by WES or anything. But for the HNDs, it's great for you to have it evaluated. Once you have it evaluated, it might be easier for the schools to be able to match it. But yes, you can have an MBA with an HND. Like, nothing is restricting you. You just need to figure out, okay, what are the other parts of the application profile that I have? So 2 years of experience in accounting, yeah, you can send us an email and then we can brainstorm about how that would work best for you, because it's also based off of your years of experience and everything that you have. Yeah, but 2 years of experience isn't bad. Like, if you're a chartered accountant, that's also fantastic for you. And it's not just upper credit. What exactly was your GPA and stuff like that? Okay. Our email is on the chat. It's on the screen, actually. We have our email on the screen. coaching@titanarconsulting.com, anu@titanarconsulting.com. Our WhatsApp, I can also include our WhatsApp on the chat. 7225. Yes. And then please follow us on Instagram and on Twitter to get updated on a lot of our other services, our webinars, our events, and all of the gems that we drop daily. So thank you so much for participating in the Navigating the MBA Process webinar. You will be sent the recording of the video. It's going to be on YouTube, but you'll be sent the recording as soon as it is live on YouTube. And you would also be sent the details of the Titanara course sign up if that's what you're interested in. Thank you so much. I will stop the recording now. I'll be available for the next 5 minutes if you have any questions for me.